Here I am. Here I am. So, you know, we've got a fabulous guest. I hope you enjoyed that little retrospective of my game-making history. Sea Bunny, the game, it's fascinating to me. I don't know quite what motivated me to put so much into that, but it was a very compelling project. And it's very, very weird, don't you think? Yeah, if you think it's weird, we'll put the phone number up, but give us a call. I'd like to hear what you think of that game. Next up, we have a fabulous friend of mine who is a sustainability technologist, comes from Los Angeles, California, living here in the area now. Ricardo Perez-Pineda. Come on up, Ricardo! It's so wonderful to have you. Look at this man. Here he is. Oh, your suspense is killing you. Look at that.
Thank you for having me, British Jackie.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It's great to see you. So we've got to get back to we've got some things to show you. Ricardo's been working on a number of different projects. And now we'll take a look at his project. So Ricardo, you live here in the area?
Yes, I just moved here for graduate school.
For graduate school, so you're in graduate school.
Yeah, at the moment.
That's fantastic, that's fantastic. And where were you from? You're from California, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right, I was born and raised in southeast Los Angeles in a tiny city called Cudahy. It's 1 square mile and it has about 30,000 people living in this 1 square mile.
Wow.
And,
wow.
99.
So, they grow up. Is it high rises or how do they pack?
No. The geography of Cudahy is very unique in that the driveways go long ways because it used to be a pig farm, and so they converted these pig farm lots into apartment complexes, and so you have long driveways that go in, and you'll be able to host multiple apartment complexes within one area.
Like along the driveway, there are multiple complexes there. That's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
It's a big community. So it was a strong, sort of well-integrated community with people involved with each other and supportive of each other, that kind of thing.
I would say it's a community of immigrants. We have a lot of people who are Mexican, of course. We also have a lot of Salvadoran population. We have a Guatemalan population, Honduras, Ecuador, Venezuela, Cuba. You have a conglomerate of Latino diaspora living in this community, and this, you know, we all went through a struggle of assimilating at the same time.
Right.
And so that's where the community really comes together, is in the assimilation process of trying to make yourself better in this country.
We've got just a bit. Oh, thank you. We've got instruction from our intern. He's very, very precise. We like the precision that we're bringing in. Oh, yeah, there we go. So it's just, so that brings us to your project. You're working on a project that is helping immigrants do various things. We're going to get this under presentation. Here we are. Technology on live television, ladies and gentlemen. Who would think it was possible? But here we are doing it. An evening with British Jackie, yes it is. And that is, so we'll go to the next slide, if I can here, what we do here. How do we get there? Oh, there it is. Wonderful. The next slide is right here. Wow! The White House! The White House!
That is
For the president? For which president?
Well, so this is under the previous administration. This is when Barack Obama was in his last year of his presidency candidacy.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we were not able to present to Barack Obama as he went to Cuba for the first time during that presentation time.
Yeah.
But we were, with my undergraduate degree at UCLA, Chicana Studies, we were able to go to the White House to present different empowerment strategies on how to incorporate migrant communities to develop their home countries from local state actions here in the United States.
Wow, so you could actually get some systems in place here and then have that draw money back into the communities in the immigrant community, or the original communities where the immigrants came from, get the money back there and develop the communities there with the money that was kind of brought here. Is that what it's like?
Correct. What we were trying to do is we're trying to provide a thoughtful analysis of what is the current trend of aid in the world right now, from the U.S. to developing countries, and how we can change that development project of how things are going. Currently, as it stands, about $10 billion are served into aid. It's served as aid money, whereas we have seen over $68 billion in remittances per year.
Oh, wow.
And so for those who don't know what remittances are, that's when people send money from the United States or the United Kingdom or Germany or other type of developing countries to their home countries back home. So for example, I am Mexican myself. My mother and my father send money back to Mexico, and when they send the money from the U.S. to Mexico, that's a remittance. So currently, the current rate of remittances in the U.S. and abroad is about $68 billion of money that's being sent back to developing countries.
Wow. It's a
that's
tremendous
in
sum of money that be, it's so powerful sum of money. It's like, it's enormous. There's so many things it's sort of inspiring to think of what the possibilities are with a sum like that.
Correct. And what we're trying to assess is how can we go from this model of development aid that's not being effective right now, and his stories have shown that up to 25% of aid money gets up lost in Swiss bank accounts because of corruption. So how can we take money that people are sending from their own pocket to their home communities,
Directly to the communities
they are from, and then invest it into positive projects?
Okay, let's go back to the slide here and let's talk about what you've done. You've got immigration policy lessons from transnational Los Angeles. What does that mean? What were the policy lessons that you came out with in the scope of doing this project?
So there's two main aspects that we wanted to really dive into. One of them was what would be the legal implications of legalizing undocumented people in the country. If we were to legalize the approximately 25 million undocumented people in this country, we would see over $1 billion in revenue streams that will be open within the first 3 years.
So it'd be legal to work and make money and send it wherever they wanted to,
and
right? Lead back to their home country.
And not only that, one of our big thoughtful analysis is that a lot of people in the undocumented community do not have access to formal banking accounts, and because of different levels of restriction on identification, and because they're not able to bank, they're not able to buy houses, they're not able to invest. So we get into a very vicious cycle of root causes of why we're not able to see progress within these communities that have much more potential to be able to extrapolate within the country that are just currently not able to.
Because the funds are there, but it's like the systems aren't in place to help them to put the funds into a useful project or a useful destination.
It's what we see in this vicious cycle is that you're penalized for being poor, and it's hard to get out of poverty.
Right.
So we're seeing a repetitive theme of people wanting to get out of poverty but not having the mechanisms to do so at a larger scale. So we produced a report. We were actually able to present. We wrote a report with my peers, and I wrote a report on everything we presented in the White House, as well as we had a presidential debate right before the current presidential election. We had community activist members like Dolores Huerta, who was one of our advocates on behalf of the Hillary Clinton campaign. We had GOP representatives who weren't aligned with Donald Trump, but still represented the GOP bill. Yeah. And people representing Bill Sanders, mainly DACA recipients who were going for Bill Sanders. So we were able to present our findings to these surrogates as well, and how their presidential client would respond to this.
What was the response? Like, what was the response like in that presentation that you gave for those people who were in power? Really, I mean, that, you know.
Well, I would say we got a positive response. Me also have to take a grain of rice is that we were in California, in Los Angeles, so the population base is going to be a little more biased to a progressive liberal agenda.
Right. So we are on the left coast, the east coast, and west coast as well. Yeah, so similar in that way. Very lucky here.
But we all know how the presidential race came out. So in the end, we didn't get our candidate who really advocated for our position to win. But we, part of the reason why I'm here is to continue to advocate for all of this hard work that a lot of people have done that can make positive impacts in the future. Right.
So you've done sort of the foundation work, and you can then take this project and apply it as soon as the climate is right, really, for politically.
So
let's go to which slide would you like to go to?
Let's go to about number 9.
9. Here we are. Oops, that's not 9. That's 10. Here we are, number 9 here.
Let's backtrack a little bit more.
Okay, we'll go.
Slide 8.
Slide 8 here.
All right.
This one we're looking at here, and there we are, slide 8.
So this is one of the projects that I worked with one of my teams at Brandeis University, a graduate school that I'm working with. So we took the concept of being able to use remittances and able to apply it to positive development projects back home. So the solution that we came up with is a sustainable enterprise solution that we created called Ubuntu Solar Solutions.
I see.
This particular initiative is targeted for India, for the region of Uttar Pradesh, but theoretically speaking, this can be applied to any country that has high levels of remittances. We find that India has about $30 billion of remittances coming in annually, and therefore that's why it would be a good pilot initiative.
Right.
However, we are targeting this initiative in South America as well, as they have a large population with large remittance patterns.
Let's take a look at this. We've only got a few more seconds left. Actually, we'll take a look at this briefly.
So pretty much the biggest takeaway here is that we're able to create, through a mobile application and an innovative social impact bond, we're able to harness the power of remittances to invest in infrastructure for people in developing countries. A lot of time people in these developing countries don't have the means and the resources to invest in the infrastructure themselves. So what our sustainable business enterprise does is it allows us to use the social innovation bond that we have implemented to put the upfront cost of solar technology in our solar business solution. So
we've got 7 seconds left. I'm afraid we've got to say goodnight. It's fascinating. We'll be hearing more from Ricardo for sure. It's a fascinating topic. Thank you. Good night.